I want to start by thanking you for inviting me to be with you today. It is such a privilege to be assisting a congregation as it starts to venture into the new world of looking for a new minister. It is a privilege and an adventure, and it's good to be here. I want to offer, as we begin the spirit of talking about making really important decisions, really significant decisions. I think it's helpful to start kind of at the beginning, or at what's most important, what's already there that you said is most important. And one of those places that you have that is in your affirmation. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve others in community to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with creation. Thus do we covenant with one another. It's been lovely to be around congregations in the past couple of years that have variations. Nearly all of them have variations on this affirmation, and frequently in their weekly order of service. I have to make sure that I'm actually reading and paying attention and having the text of that particular church in front of me to make sure I know just how it is this church expresses this note as it follows from love is the doctrine of this church. Because I think one of the places that's a wonderful place to begin is this understanding of love and searching and a desire to be in service with others. And from all of this, it flows our care and our help in the world, our curiosity, and our willingness to reach out to each other. I think any intentional, thoughtful process in making a great decision in our lives is, if nothing else, let it be an act of love. Whether it's the personal, whether it's you're simply making a choice about what kind of vocation to pursue, whether or not to have a partner in your life, whether or not to have a family, whatever family looks like for you, and on and on. Let it be an act of love. Whether you're in a family of whatever composition that might be, biological or chosen or both and more, your community, whatever that looks like, working for making a decision about your education or work, making it an act of love speaks to what is important and vital in our lives. And then there is this question of looking for a minister and entering into the search process, which is its own kind of discipline and spiritual practice itself. It is such a joy to offer a little bit of beginning for that, because it's the shaping of this new chapter in your lives, in the lives of everybody around this congregation, and indeed even in the lives of those of us in this cluster, our neighbors. And it's lovely to be your neighbor. It's lovely to be your neighbor. In part because I also want to encourage you to think of this as a place of generations, that this is a place of lives evolving over time. I'm someone who is a third generation Unitarian Universalist from New England, and I'm happy to be with you here because it is also about all of the generations that came before and all that will come after. So let me offer a few reflections on what might improve the chance for a successful, significant choice. And I'll offer this in the context, use this for your personal reflection as much as for the life of this institution. And fair warning for those of you who like to keep lists, because some of you really love lists. I'm offering a list, and there's 13, so go ahead and number down. Go ahead. My colleague in ministerial representative work and one of my trainers, Bob Neese, extrapolated this excellent list from reflecting on the nature of the search process, and it seems to work really well for life choices as well. So let me begin. First, number one, increase your options at the beginning. Look at all kinds of possibilities that your mind try and consider possibilities that may seem crazy or irrational even, or odd. Just put them up on the board. Just let them all go out there. Just make them all, give them all a voice. What are all of the options? It's that brainstorming piece. It's not judging, it's simply getting it all out. So that's number one. Number two, which is closely related, is avoid prejudging. Because it can be easy early on to think that one knows exactly what one wants and to kind of start checking off possibilities before you've fully researched what might be possible. There's all kinds of avenues of ministries and theologies and choices in our lives that if we start to say, well, we should be like this because we seem to be like that. As soon as you start to have this kind of should nature in your conversation, stop now. Just put it down. Just let the shoulds go. And let yourself have a chance to see what might come. Because it's easy, I think, I know I do this too. It's easy to come at something with a certain prejudice that doesn't reflect maybe all the realities with which we're dealing. Loyola University of New Orleans offers this suggestion in the materials that it presents to the new students coming in. So think of yourselves as new students in this moment. And they say, the choosing process ought to be disentangled from inordinate attachment and disordered affectivity. It must purge itself of bias and prejudice and stereotypical thinking. So the moment you think that you should be like something, that may be a little warning sign to say, hold on, let's not start to edit this now. So number three, use all available resources. Every source of information you can find to help understand yourself and your options. And again, Loyola puts it this way: no pertinent light comes to us from history or science or religious experience or art should be ignored. Let all that light in from every source. Let all that light in from every source. You know, I think I have these conversations sometimes with people. I'm willing to kind of turn on certain radio stations theologically that I may disagree with. And there's many of those in the state of Texas. and I will willingly spend time kind of with that, whatever the message might seem to be. And it's always interesting when I share this with members of a congregation, and they're like, oh, I just can't stand it. Oh, I just, and I'm like, you know what? But they make a point about something about family, something about relationship, something to think about God. I never know what new thing I'm going to find. So, use every available resource. Don't say no to the light, even if the light doesn't look all that bright to begin with. Try it out. So those are the first three things. So you have to be open to the possibilities, use all your resources, start with yes. So number four is imaginatively seek to fully understand yourself. So you've got all these outside things. Now you get to look inside. So if your choice is a significant one, in the sense of feeling something about you, then self-understanding is essential. You can't skip this step. And if it's to really actually work in one's life, if it's going to be a good fit, then you need to know about what works for you, what doesn't, and what you care about and what you don't. And it's important because you don't have to care about everything. That might be one of those shoulds to think about in one of those previous steps. You don't have to care about everything. You don't have to be everything to all people in all theologies and all political parties and so on and so forth. You have to understand what makes you feel good and what does not, and what matters to you and what does not. I was thinking about this before, and it made me think of those. You've seen these ads for the adjustable beds, where you have, one side you can have hot, and one side can be cold, and one side soft, and one side hard, and people get to choose. And I really like that idea, that you can have your thing, and I can have mine, but we're still in it together. There we go. I haven't been on one of those beds, but they look like fun. I want to give it a try. So number five, now that you have a good sense of options, and also a certain sense of self, where do you begin and end? That's the time to start to winnow down the options, based on what's really needed or wanted. Because there comes a time when having too many choices is counterproductive. I appreciate going shopping and having, a whole aisle of salsa. And I like that. But then I actually have to read all the jars before I can choose one. And then it makes it very hard, because they all end up being, red and tomatoey. And what do I do then? So there's a point at which it's fine not to have as many choices and to start to say goodbye to some along the way. And that does mean ending some paths. That means closing some doors. So it needs to be thoughtful, but it also needs to happen. There's a point at which you have to say no to something. And number six is to persistently and fully and deeply understand the chosen options. What are the ones you still have before you? And to keep working at understanding all the implications of those options. The yeses and the nos and the what feels right, what seems to be the right course. All of those choices being made along the way. And it's a long conversation to do so. And as much as, lists of pros and cons can be very helpful with winnowing certain choices, they also must come from a certain sense of what's truly important. What do you value? What is essential? If your affirmation is an example of that, then it's love, then it's service, then it's connection, then it's being related to the entire world. Those are some of the pieces that you already talk about amongst yourselves. What do you value? As well as what are the facts? What's the information? So that's number 7. Number 8. Find ways to progressively try out each choice to the best that you can. Because significant choices can have ramifications that can only be known by experiencing them, by kind of getting hands-on and sniffing it out, as it were. James Luther Adams talks about his fourth smooth stone is the importance of social incarnation. If you don't actually make it real, then it's not a real thing. This is one of those moments, as much as you can in reflecting on a choice. What would it be like to really hear this minister talk, or maybe if you're in your personal life, go to this job, or choose this school, or play the piano, for Pete's sake. Any of those kinds of things. Say, I need to actually see what this is like. And especially since so many significant choices are about relationships. So it's a matter of going and seeing what would it be like to know this person for the next decade of my life. And so there's some particular strategies. I'm going to say more about relationships for these next couple of steps. So number 9, because if your choice is about relationship, then you make the choice relationally. I already talked about making things based on values as well as information. But a relationship is so much more than pluses and minuses on the checklist. And working through a relationship can be done, it needs to be done with a deep commitment to the inherent worth of everybody involved, yourself and the other, whoever the other is. You need to remember this is a partnership, a relationship, a dynamic. There's another creature and being, whatever that creature and being might be, who's going to be mutually dependent on you as you go forward. Number 10, if the choice is about relationship, here's this moment where you have to go back to being clear about how you want to be in that relationship. So you've already had to start to get to know yourself, but now here's a moment where you need to know why, you need to know where you begin and where somebody else, where you begin and end, where somebody else begins and ends, so that you know how to be in a relationship, what you need from a partner, what you can offer a partner, what specific qualities between yourself and another might make a spectacular relationship and development for your mutual benefit. So here's number 11. And number 11 is going to go somewhere where you don't often quote in Unitarian Universalist churches. Ronald Reagan. I'm going to bring in the late great Ronald Reagan. And his catchphrase, trust but verify. Trust but verify. If we inherit nothing else, let's inherit that. So go about understanding the relationship in a trusting way. Be willing to make personal risks as you engage with the other. Share something of your precious self with the world. But also be willing to ask and be asked difficult questions. Also be willing to be asked difficult questions. Because it's very important to know where sometimes you might think you have had an answer, but if you actually have to respond to somebody about what's important to you, and you find yourself coming up short, or don't have the words, or can't come up with the language, that's an opportunity for you to go back and say, wow, where do I actually begin and end on this question? Maybe I don't know as well as I thought I did. And then also consult with people who have engaged in a relationship with this person or group or so on beforehand. And before even going out there, know what other people say about you too. Know what other people are saying about you as well. And this is one of those moments where you use your already established relationships to say, okay, tell me how I really am. Come on, I need to know. Just do it with love, but tell me. Number 12. Number 12. If your choice involves relationship, fully disclose yourself. Be as upfront and honest as you possibly can be. You're not trying to impress the other, you're trying to just simply be honest. And don't put yourself down. I don't know about you, but I certainly find it easy to come up, someone starts asking me about myself. And I say, well, I'm bad at this, and my house is a mess, and my computer needs to be refiled, and I will just go through this whole list of, I am not worthy, in all these ways, shapes, and forms. And I think in our society, it can be easy to do that too, because, we have all these messages that say that we don't have enough, we don't have enough money, we don't have enough education, we don't have enough time, we have way too much to drive, or walk, or groceries are too expensive, we can't possibly afford all of these things. It can be easy to so much feel like we are not enough. And let me offer that one of the wonderful opportunities that we do in our congregations is to minister to each other and say, you are excellent and beloved and fabulous, and let me show you that you are. Let me remind you that you are. And it's just a gift to be with you. So it's fine to be honest about what you bring, the good and the bad, and honor that you bring a lot into any kind of setting. And ideally, you would bring your entire self, flaws and funkiness and all. And it may be difficult, but it's important to realize that over time, you're going to be revealed anyway, so just do it now. Just do it now, because then you started on this much more mutual kind of setting. Because why not now? Here's the thing, why not now? Because this other that you're starting to engage with and learn about and may possibly have a future with can help you be even more one. and you them. Now I want to stop here and offer a little bit more reflection on the nature of successful. When I was started off by talking about successful, significant choices. What does success might look like? Especially if we're talking about these relational pieces. Now, success, I want to talk about that success, first and foremost, is not about the perfect choice. We are not perfect. Relationships are not perfect. Our significant choices are not perfect by golly gee. Our relationship may be a very good match. Our choice may line up well with needs and values and conditions in our life. But perfection, let me tell you right here, right now, you traversalists, I'm going to just tell you, we're not about being perfect. Can I get an amen? We're not about being, there we go, we're not about being perfect. And thank goodness, I don't feel like it. Do you? It's not, that's actually not our theology. Our theology is about learning. Our theology and our understanding of the world is about taking in, being inspired by spectacular things that occur around us, whether it's wisdom from other people, or from science, or from other religions, or from tradition, and say, what is in here? Let us take all of this in and see where we are. But we combine that with a willingness to engage in relational work, in love, in compassion, and recognizing that we are deeply flawed, as well as we are spectacularly wonderful. What we are is not a tradition about perfection, but a tradition that lets us screw up and come back together. And that process will keep happening again and again. I promise you that we will always screw up. Well, there's always another opportunity to make a mistake. Whether it's intentional or unintentional, or we're just in a bad mood, and we're just being ugly. So Unitarian Universalism is not about perfection, it's about wisdom. It's about learning and incorporating mistakes and becoming more wise. And if we do nothing else with thinking about the search for a minister, this is that place. This is that chance. To recognize that's at the heart of our theology, is becoming and being more than. So another aspect of a successful, significant choice, and related to this whole question about wisdom and perfection, is that it's not unquestionably right. It's not an absolute choice. It may be well-reasoned. It may feel really great. It may reflect the values well. But absolute confidence is just, you may have it, and bully for you. But it's unlikely. So you're going to need to be willing to live with some doubt. I know we make jokes about questions, everything, but then you actually have to live with a choice. You have to be willing to live with some doubt. I don't know how exactly it's all going to turn out. I just don't know. Even after you've done all the verifying and have a lot of wonderful trust. Another aspect of success success is not accepting what you can get, either. If you're in the kind of goal-oriented, the goal is to get to this place. The goal is to have, say, a new minister in 15 or 18 months. Well, yes, you could have that goal. And you could certainly, there's lots of ministers out there. But don't settle for what is less than what really speaks to you. Don't take the first available without going through the rest of the process. Whatever the result of the choice, it should be clearly good and clearly good enough. The last aspect of success I want to bring out is that there are moments when it's okay not to choose from the options before you. Because sometimes choosing not to choose is actually the choice to make at the time. Sometimes the good choice, the choice that will be the best opportunity, has not quite appeared yet. And waiting and continuing to reflect may be the way to go. That may be the path. And at any point, that can become clear. That can be the choice at any stage along a process of making a powerful choice. So in short, begin in love. Give yourself time to find and hear that inner voice. And understand the range of dynamics and the meaning of success. Now, so I got to number 12 in the 13. So I want to say the 13 for last. So number 13 is about the significant choices are ones that are truly big, are truly on the forming edge of our lives, as my colleague Kathleen McTeague says. They are the way in which we sort out the life paths. And since we have so many people you're talking about sorting out together, that's a powerful choice. So I want to call attention to this one last point. That the 13th step in a significant choice is allowing yourself to be changed by the process. Allowing yourself to be changed by the process. Because I guarantee that you, in this, whatever stage this congregation is in right now, you're not going to be the same in a year. You're going to be entirely different in some way, shape, or form. Because you'll have this chance to reflect and think about options and choices. You'll have people come and go in the course of things. You'll have people deepen. You'll have people change their commitments. You're not going to be the same. So you're already in a transformative moment. Let yourself recognize that and be changed in the moment. Let it happen intentionally. Because in a choice of significance, allowing that kind of transformation to be known and recognized and visible as much as possible, it's the moment of signaling and signifying what you are becoming. What you are becoming. And I want to invite you to let it happen. Let it happen. Amen. Please rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn number 298, Wait Now, My Senses.